The history books on the shelf.
Welcome back to KidsKast. My name is Emily.
Jake.
Jess.
Ali.
Today we have a special guest on. He's a rapper and poet, and he's released his book, Locks, last year. Please welcome Ashleigh Nugent.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What was it like growing up as a mixed race teenager in Liverpool? How did it shape your sense of identity?
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I was brought up in Rainhill, which is not too far from here. So I was on the outskirts of Liverpool in a little town, a little village, a little suburb, we call it. And we were the only interracial family in that area that I knew. There was a couple of other families that weren't white, a couple of African families, a few Asian families. I didn't know any other interracial families. So my dad was a black from Jamaica and my mum was white Scottish, and I had a brother and a sister. And so it was interesting. We felt that we were very often singled out because we looked different to everybody else around there because we weren't white, and we were often called names, and people would say ridiculous things and ask us ridiculous questions and want to do things like touch your hair all the time and use really negative, nasty words to refer to us. And me and my brother got harassed by the police a lot. Me, from the time I was 14, I was getting arrested a lot, for just pulled up, searched, and actually arrested and locked up for things I hadn't done. But I also didn't really feel very connected to my black identity because I wasn't really taught anything about black history, about Jamaican history, about African history. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any more than my friends knew, which was nothing, because again, the history of people who look like me wasn't really part of our school education either, and it wasn't part of our discussions at home. So it was important to me from the time I was 14, 15, 16 to start to get to know other black and mixed race people. And then when I got older again, when I started studying, when I was old, it was really important to me to understand black history, African history, Caribbean history, and kind of all of those elements that make me who I am, just so that I can defend myself, because a lot of people have a lot of silly, ill-educated views about what Africa is, what the Caribbean is, and what it means to be someone like me. So just to be able to stick up for myself, I have to really know my own history.
What inspired your journey to Jamaica? How does it change your understanding of yourself?
Well, you see, when I got in some trouble in Jamaica, I ended up locked up in Jamaica. Now, I was locked up with a lot of other black Jamaican boys, and I obviously, not being from Jamaica, was seen as being there once again, the one that is different, the one that is singled out. But also, in Jamaica, the way that race is treated, it's treated differently. Race is what we call a societal construct. It's not a real thing. It's not a real scientific way of categorizing human beings. It doesn't really exist. Okay, genetically, it's not a thing. So in different countries, it works in different ways. So in this country, if you look like me, people will just say you're black. In Jamaica, if you look like me, there's a kind of a scale, and when you get down to my kind of shade, some people will call you white. And so in this place I was locked up in Jamaica, I was known as the white boy. So that really made me question, what does this whole race thing mean anyway? If I can be the black lad in Rainhill but the white boy in Jamaica, then what is this race thing? Why do people talk about it? Why do they even mention it? Why is it a thing? Where does it come from? And how should I feel about it?
You've mentioned time in a Jamaican detention centre as a pivotal moment. What was the biggest lesson you took away from that experience?
that when you strip away these ways that we like to define ourselves, do you understand what I mean by that? The ways we like to identify ourselves, whether that's to do with race or class or where you're from, or who you like to go out with, or what gender you are. All of these ways that we define ourselves, actually, when they are taken away from you, then underneath all of that stuff, we're all the same. There's something other. There's something, no matter what you believe in, there's some other part of us that we've all got and connects us all that has got nothing to do with all of that other stuff. And that thing that's deeper than all of that stuff is a lot more important than any of that surface stuff that we use to define ourselves, or to point out the differences between us and other people, or to argue with each other, or to try and prove ourselves right and other people wrong. It's all just surface stuff, and it's all nonsense.
How did you stay positive during the time in prison?
I didn't. Although it didn't affect me so negatively as it might some people. I think the main thing, when I came back, my mum and dad sent me to see the doctor, because I'd been stabbed as well. So I had big holes in my leg and in my back and in my hand. And they sent me to our doctor to say it was to see whether the stab wounds were infected. But really, they wanted the doctor to do like a mental health assessment on me to see if I was okay, if I was coping okay. And my sister also taught me into going to see her kickboxing instructor, who was a trained therapist at the time, to see if my mental health was okay after this traumatic experience. And as I'd said all along, they were like, he's fine, he's perfectly okay. And I think the reason I was fine is mainly because, even though I thought that sometimes I might not even survive the situation, so it was scary, and it was very, 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 very bad things were happening, you know. I don't know how much you know about that, and you're quite young. I won't go too much into it. Very, awful things happened, but I felt that I'd created the situation myself. I know that sounds strange. I was 16 years old. I had my 17th birthday in there, but I felt that. So I couldn't understand what I was thinking, what I was feeling, but for some reason I thought, I've made this happen. I wanted to bring something really extreme into my life in order to understand myself, and that's why this is happening. So I know that sounds weird, but that made me believe there's a reason for this. It's not just some random nastiness. There's a reason this is happening, and as long as I survive, this will help me understand myself, and I'll write a book about this and help other people understand what it is that I'm experiencing. I just didn't realise it would take me 30 years to write the book. Because it's hard writing a book, and I had no GCSEs or anything. So we had to get back into education and start all over again, and that took a long time.
What was it like growing up with ADHD?
It was, you know, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 5 years old in 1981. Before it was even called ADHD, it was called hyperkinesis, which means like hyper energetic. Like kinesis is like movement of the body, like so but then nothing else was said after they were like, ease, we can't handle him in class. Take him to the doctor, and maybe there's something wrong with him. Maybe something wrong with being dead energetic and nearly creative. Maybe there's something wrong with that, you know. So they gave me some medication, and I fell asleep with me face in me tea, which was a shame because we'd having ravioli. I don't know if you know what ravioli is, but it was very, very nice. And I didn't want to ruin the ravioli. But my mum and dad didn't give me the medicine again. They sent me running, sent me swimming, but nothing was enough to use up the energy. And no one ever spoke to me about it. So even when I was in my 30s, I used to think, why can't I do that stuff that other people do? We just sit still and be normal and not say weird things. And do you know what I mean? How is it possible to be born naughty? Because no matter how hard I try, I can't do that stuff that in school they made me believe was what a good boy does, what a good girl does. You understand? Now I understand that's got nothing to do with being good or bad. And it's perfectly fine for me to be very energetic and very creative. In fact, it wasn't me that had anything wrong with me, it was the school that had something wrong with it. If the school can't cater for people being energetic, creative children, then there's something wrong with the system. There ain't nothing wrong with me. I lived a lifestyle that was very dangerous, and I was very angry. And it wasn't until I was 21 years old that I decided that something in me just really had to share my ideas with the world. I had to get this stuff out of me. So I'd always written, I had all these books and these bus tickets with ideas on, and boxes and boxes of these ideas, little bits of poems and songs and stories, and I had to share them with people somehow, but I didn't know how. I had no GCSE. Well, I had one C grade GCSE. Can you guess what in?
Music.
No, PE. I'm not sure it counts, but I had to get it out there somehow in the world, and so I had to go back to college to meet people who know about that stuff. And when I got into college, it was a rubbish course, and I left the course halfway through because it was rubbish. But I met somebody who got me into a band. And he persuaded me, if you've got ideas, you can rap. I can't rap, I'm 21 years old. I'm a 21-year-old scallywag, I can't rap. But I started rapping, and back then rapping was not a very popular thing. It wasn't something, nowadays, loads of lads round here, I know, I've worked round here in the youth centres, and I know loads of people, especially lads, for whatever reason that is, shouldn't be that way. Girls get spitting more, but loads of lads love spitting bars. Back then, I knew nobody that did that, until I met this guy who got me into a band. And then I started rapping, and I started meeting other creative people, and I realised these people are really, really clever, because they read books. I didn't even read books at the time, so I got into reading, and from that point on, once I realised how far behind I was from like educated people, I started studying hard every day. And that's been my life now for 27 years, is reading and writing every day. And doing these bits of performance. I don't rap anymore, but I do kind of use performance when I, present my book to people, and that kind of thing.
Do you feel the racism you experienced growing up is still present today, or have things gotten better?
It's an interesting thing. A friend of mine in the pub, recently told me this thing that people always tell you when you talk about race and racism in this country, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And in some ways, of course, it's not as bad as it used to be. But it kind of confuses me that is the first thing that people want to tell me when I talk about it still being bad. People want to tell me they know my experience better than me, for one thing, when they haven't experienced what I've experienced. They want to tell me all kinds of maybe I'm trying to hold back. I've nearly swore them. They try to tell me kinds of half-truths, things they don't really know about, something they've seen on some kind of video on Facebook or something, as if they, when I've been studying this stuff for decades and living it. And then they want to tell me, but it's not as bad as it used to be. So why is that what you want to focus on? When I'm telling you this is quite awful, like looking like me and being in a place whereby we still have these issues and having to grow up with that stuff is quite difficult. Why is the first thing you want to say, but it's not that bad? For one, how would you know? And for two, why is that your point? So my friend who told me it's not as bad as it used to be, a week after I had that debate with him in the pub, what they call the race riots started happening in this country, and all over this country people were going around attacking people for not looking like them, trying to burn down hotels, rioting about, complaining about how many people are coming into the country from outside the country. So I now felt like walking around the place that I live, where there's not many people who look like me, once again, like I might just be attacked. And I did think people were looking at me differently, because now they felt maybe it was okay to be openly racist now, because we've got people in the mainstream politics, people in the mainstream media who express what I would call racist views openly. So some things have got better, but just like with misogyny, do you know what I mean by that, like sexism or homophobia, these things move on, but it takes decades. When your brain has been wired to think in a certain way, it takes generations really to breathe that out. So this thing won't go away in my lifetime, but we'll keep fighting and moving forward.
If you could talk to yourself as a teenager, what would you tell him?
I'd say I do talk to myself as a teenager. I do that. I have pictures of myself where I sit in my office at home. I have a few pictures of myself as a baby. I have my first school photograph, me as a little kid and me as a teenager. The only photograph of me when I was locked up in Jamaica that somebody took from the back of a car. I've got that picture. The guy who was in that picture passed away whilst I was in there with him. And I have them pictures not because I love looking at myself. I'm not some kind of weird sociopath or something. I have those pictures to remind myself of that little child, that cute, beautiful, gorgeous, playful little child is still in me. And I often think back to times when I've been troubled as a child, and I'll go back and put my arm around myself. Like I'll go back to me being locked up in Jamaica, and I'll put my arm around. I wrote it in my book, when my editor took it out of my book, but I'll put my arm around myself and say, it's okay, Ash, this is all part of it. Even the difficult stuff, this is what life is. There's good times and there's hard times, and sometimes there's downright awful times, and people pass away and really difficult things happen, and that's all part of it. What matters is what you do with it, what you do about it, and that you make the most of being here now, having this opportunity to be Ash here now in this lifetime. Do the most you can with it. Don't mope around. So you should try it. Look, get a picture of yourself as a baby. Look, oh, there's little me.
Do you have a favourite achievement from your life? Is there still something you want to achieve?
Loads. And you know, my biggest, I have lots and lots of issues. I've got 2 children, and you know, who are now teenagers, and bringing them into the world, and not only bringing them into the world, but you know, me and their mother like having a really good relationship still now, and I think we've done well with how we've taught those 2 people who are now 18 and 14, soon to go off into the world and do their own thing. I think we've done a good job. That's my proudest achievement. The work that I do, I work in prisons, and I've helped lots and lots of people, and I get people sending me messages telling me how much my organisation has helped them turn their lives around. That's a really proud achievement. As far as me personally, getting this publishing deal with my book after leaving school with 1 GCSE and then putting in all that work to get a book that is published and is out there and it gets good reviews, and is a good book. It's a really good book, you know, if I say so myself. That feels to me like, you know, sometimes I don't watch these things very much, but you know, if you see something like The Voice or X Factor or something like that, and you see people having that moment where they win the thing, and it's like, how great must it feel to be the one who won the thing? Wow, it's like, you know, you get a bit emotional, you know, that's why those shows are powerful. I feel like I've had my X Factor moment. I won the X Factor. I won The Voice because I got a book published. That's like a 1 in a million. You know, so I think about that a lot. No matter what else happens, that I achieved that thing that hardly anybody ever does. For the future, I'm working on a film, I'm working on another book, I'm working on a play. I've got loads of things I want to achieve.
What's it like when people like look up to you, like want to be like you?
What's it like? I don't really think of it in that way. You know, I was out last night at a hip-hop gig in Liverpool, and it's nice. Some people still like tell me that they still listen to the songs. We used to make records and CDs, and some people still approach me, oh, I still listen to your tunes. Or some people tell me I started rapping because I'm 48. When we were first rapping, there was hardly anyone in the whole world that made hip-hop rap tunes with a Scouse accent. It just weren't a done thing. So people tell me, oh, when we heard you rapping, we thought they can do it, we can do it, and that's why we started rapping. And I think, well, that's amazing. Not like, it's amazing to feel that you can impact other people in a positive way. And, you know, also just last night, 2 people told me they're trying to write a book. 2 seconds, I'm trying to write a book. Can I contact you for some advice on how to write my book? I said, yes, man, of course you can. So it's beautiful to be able to influence people in a positive way. We're all connected. You know, if you're happier and if your families are happier, then this area is happier and this city is happier and I'm happier and we're all happier together. So we can, you know, if we can do good for each other, we make the world a better place and we all benefit, you know.
What is your book Locks about?
It's about being in prison in Jamaica. So it's that whole kind of like 3-week-ish period. It's made into a fictional story. It's made into what we call a novel. So I've changed the names. The boy isn't called Ash, he's called Eon. And I've changed the names of the places and all that kind of stuff. But it's about that journey of going there to find yourself as a mixed race boy from the suburbs, getting locked up, being beaten up for being the white boy, and then having to escape the country and then reckoning with what that whole experience means.
How do you turn real life experiences into a story that connects with readers?
Yeah, that was an interesting journey, and people ask me about that a lot. You know, you have to be really, 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 really honest, no matter what you're writing, for one thing. Be really honest and say things that we all think things that we want to hide. We've all got secret parts of ourselves, haven't we? We all think things that we wouldn't ever tell other people. And if you're, as an artist, if you dare to show them bits of yourself that people normally hide, that really connects with people, because they go, oh, he said it for us. But also make the story, make sure everything you say, you don't say anything that's extra. Only say stuff that develops the character or develops the story. Everything else, leave it out. So keep it exciting, keep it moving. Every line is there for a reason. And then make sure your reader can feel it. Don't tell them what happened, show them what happened by explaining how it felt in the body, what the person saw, what they could taste, how the wind felt in the hair. Do you understand? Make them really feel like they're there in it. And then, yeah, you just keep going over and over and over and over it, like I did for 8 years, until it's half decent.
Do you still rap or perform poetry? Could you share a small piece with us?
I don't perform as a poet or a rap artist anymore. I decided at one point to put all of my creative energy and creative time into doing this other kind of writing that I now do. You know, writing books, and as I say, I'm now working on films and that kind of stuff. So no, I don't have any poems that I know verbatim. I'm trying to think if I should freestyle for a second. So, freestyle means that you just make it up on the spot, yeah? Like you don't know what you're going to say, you just try and say something that has some rhythm and rhyme. So, like, when I freestyle a rhyme in your brain, there's disbelief. When I'm on the mic, I bring the mischief. Like it says on your there hoodie, when I jump up on the mic, you know I'll be the goodie. All I want to do is do the rhymes, get paid, and I'm not doing this for your Lucasade. That just costs you 79p, but nobody else can freestyle like me when I'm in KB, as you will see. The style that I've got inside my head, it's free. Ain't nobody else that can do it like me. I spread my wings and set myself free. On a microphone when I'm rocking on the table, kick these rounds, because you know I'm able. I've got a story, comes from my mind and the brain and the heart, and notice the fable, it be true. Rhymes for you, all I want to do is make MCs blue. They can't do the thing that I do, like this, give the sky a kiss and bring bliss. That kind of thing, see what I mean?
Still got it.
Freestyle. But no, I don't do that anymore.
I was boss.
That's all right.
Do you have any rap idols growing up?
I started off listening to... I started out with rap, listening to things like NWA, De La Soul, that kind of thing, and then Tupac and Biggie and that kind of thing. And then a little bit later on, I got, you know, when I started being a rapper, I started getting educated by the hip hop crowd, and you know, listening like KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane and the kind of old school kind of stuff. Last night we were watching the guy called Black Sheep, really, really old school stuff. And now. Yeah, you know, people. There's a guy. There's a group called Black Alicious. A guy called Gift of the Gab. is one of my favourites, just really, really deep and intellectual. I love UK rap as well. I love Roots Maneuver, I love Tricky, lots and lots of UK rap that used to be about when we were younger. We used to go watching people like Task Force and that kind of thing. Just, you know what, I don't have favourites, just low. And nowadays I get educated on what is the new school, so my son's always making me listening to Kendrick Lamar, you know what I mean, and Tyler the Creator and that kind of thing. And he keeps me up to speed with what's like the new school.
Have you ever listened to Mazza?
Who?
Mazza.
Mazza? No.
So he's like a UK rapper.
Where's he from?
UK.
Liverpool.
Is he Scouser?
Yeah.
Mazza?
Yeah. Mazza L20.
I'll look him up.
What's one of his songs?
Merseyside. So it's about Merseyside, like growing up.
With who?
A-Star.
With A-Star. I've heard of A-Star, he's been going ages, hasn't he? I've heard of him. I've seen it.
Song.
Go and think it.
Like a picture, like a Benakai asked away from me. Not a Scouse, he said Merseyside. She knows it.
Can you tell us about your organisation, Rise Up?
Oh, certainly can.
I see, and how it helps people change their lives.
Yeah, so for the past 10 years we've been going into prisons all over the country, and we run a 12-session programme, and what we do is we teach people how to... I've studied a lot of things in order to be how I am now, which is generally at peace, not angry, not anxious. Generally, if I do get those kind of negative, I know what to do with them. Generally loves life, genuinely loves people. But I've trained my brain how to be like that. There's techniques that I've studied how to be like that and how to understand how to get the most out of being me, that people aren't taught in school and they should be. So what I decided to do was set up my own company to share as much of that as I can with other people. Bring in other people who know that stuff to teach them those things. And I thought, well, what's the best place to do that? Well, let's start in prisons. So we've been into schools and that kind of thing as well. But I thought, let's start with the people that no one wants to teach that stuff to. The people who are getting ignored. Let's start with prisons. And if it can work there, it'll work anywhere. And we do it all with the art. So we do rap, poetry, drama, crafts, painting, we do meditation, so we do it in a dead creative way, and we have a laugh and we have fun, and we don't tell people what to think, and we let them feel it for themselves, feel the experience of taking control of your own thoughts and feelings. And we do it through the 12 stages of the hero's journey. That, have I got time? I'll tell you in 1 minute fast. Okay, that is the way that a lot of old stories, like myths, like mythological stories and religious stories, a lot of them are told in this same pattern. Nowadays, so this guy noticed this pattern, he's called Joseph Campbell. He wrote a book about it in 1948. Now, another guy from Hollywood got hold of that book. He went, oh, that's how you tell a good story. And he wrote a memo for people in Hollywood. This is how you tell a good story. Here's the secret, yeah? And George Lucas got hold of that memo and went, that's what I've been looking, I'll do that in space. And that's why we got Star Wars. So now you see the same pattern. It's this exact same story in Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Moana, Hunger Games, Wonder, all the same story, the same pattern. And the reason why we have that pattern in stories is because this is a way of explaining how to get the most out of life, how to take on the challenges, overcome the past, be the best that you can be, and then give something back to society. Yeah? So, check this out. Every one of those stories goes like this. Yeah? The hero's at home, but there's something wrong at home. Harry Potter lives under the stairs, yeah. And then a call to adventure comes. The letters come in the post, yeah. And but something holds the hero back, either because they're scared or because your auntie and uncle are hiding the letters, or something like that. Or Moana's dad's going, you can't cross the horizon, yeah. Something holds them back. But then the mentor comes, like Hagrid or Moana's grandma, or an older, wiser person comes. It's okay. You can cross the threshold. We can go into the world of adventure. And then everything's turned upside down. You don't know who are your friends and who are your enemies. And you have a big battle, and then everything goes wrong. Halfway through, everything goes wrong. but the hero comes out the other side and they're stronger because of it. And now they know what their power is. And then they have to go back home and take that power back to where they started, save the world and make the world a better place. And that's what every one of them stories does. And we teach our courses on Rise Up in that pattern so people live.
What do you do on the positive days?
What do I do on positive days and negative days? Is that what you said? That's a really good question, man. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I check how I'm feeling. It was very, very hard writing my book. At first, I self-published my book before I got a publishing deal, and I was running the company, and I had 2 kids, and life was very, very, very busy. And I noticed when COVID happened, when we went into lockdown, and I didn't have to suddenly get up every morning and run around all over the country doing crazy stuff, I realised that even though I've studied all this stuff about getting control of yourself, I'd lost control of myself because I was waking up in the morning already with butterflies in my stomach, already feeling anxious about even when nothing was happening, because my body, my brain, what you call the central nervous system, like the nerves that connect your brain to your body, they were just used to doing that. So I was living in constant low-level anxiety. So now what I do, the first thing I do in the morning is just check how I'm feeling, and then I give thanks. It doesn't matter what you believe in, I just give thanks to whatever. Thank you for a good night's sleep. Thank you just for this wonderful life. Thank you maybe for whatever happened last night. Thank you for these wonderful kids and wife. Thank you for a fantastic day that I'm about to have. Even though I don't know what kind of day I'm about to have, I may as well plan for it being boss man. Do you know what I mean? So I check myself and see how I'm feeling. And if I often say to people, if you're not feeling okay, then have you done the things that will lead to you feeling okay? If I don't feel okay, have I done the things that I know make me feel better? Have I done my meditation? Have I been to the gym? Have I gone out and played on my drum kit? Have I gone for a jog? Do you know what I mean? Have I done any of these? Have I gone and seen my mates? Have I put on something that will make me laugh on the telly? Have I done something that will make me feel okay? If not, then why do I expect to feel okay? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's about choice. That's the power. That's the power to control how you feel. So on bad days, I don't always try and force myself not to feel bad. Sometimes I just got to accept it. That's how it is. But even that acceptance of it kind of makes it go away a bit. Just looking at it, oh no, I feel like that now. Do you know what I mean? People think they are their thoughts and feelings, and you're not. You are not your thoughts and feelings. They are just things that are happening. Thoughts are just like, electronic pulses in your brain, and feelings are just chemical reactions in your body. Usually as a reaction to the things happening in your brain. They're just stuff that's happening inside you. They're not you. You are something much, much greater than some passing thoughts and feelings that you won't even remember next week. Do you know what I mean?
So, do you know when you started doing music and writing the book and all that, how did you build up the confidence?
Oh, I wish I knew then the things that I know now for how to control the way you feel. Because what I basically did, we read a band called the Shakti. Shakti is like a Hindu term, it's a goddess for creative energy, and that's why we want to share that energy with other people when we're on stage. We called ourselves the Shakti. And for the first 10 years, honestly, for the first 10 years that I was rapping with the Shakti, I used to feel like I'm going to be physically sick before I go on stage, and I'd be going, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this again? This is stupid. Oh, why are you doing this? And I thought everyone else is better than me, and everybody else deserves to be here more than I do, and they all know more. I'm just some scally left school with nothing. I'm just a divvy compared to these are all dead clever. I'm stupid. Oh, why am I doing this? Oh, and all these guys, these know everything about hip hop. I don't even know much about how can I call myself a rapper? I'm rubbish. And I'd just be constantly criticising myself. So I didn't. I felt I had good friends around me, good people around me who either encouraged me to do what I was doing or dragged me along. We had a really nice audiences, like in Liverpool. Like I say, people still sometimes talk. Oh, you Ash from the Shakti? I mean, they're still listening. Do you know what I mean? So we had a good community of people that wanted us to do what we were doing, and therefore encouraged me. So, well, people like it, even if I think there's other people like it. Do you know what I mean? And So what I say to people now is, learn the techniques for controlling your feelings, but also, if you want to do something and you just know in your heart of heart, you know it's what you should be doing, but you're dead scared, you've got to feel the fear and do it anyway. Even though, like, it's not about being fearless. It's about going, yeah, I'm scared, and I'm going to do it. Not I'm scared, but I'm scared, and we're doing this, mate. I'm in control, you know what I mean? You've got to take control of your own brain. Sometimes your brain isn't your best friend. And another thing I do every day is have a cold shower, because my brain really don't want that. I really don't want to have on a cold day. I really don't want to be in cold water. So I go, I know it's good for my body, I know it's good for my brain, and most of all it's me telling my brain, shut up, I'm in charge, we're doing this. Go ahead, any more?
What would you say your favourite thing about Liverpool is?
My favourite thing about Liverpool is the people. I love Liverpool. And I think, you know, I've travelled a lot around this country, and certain places have a certain vibe to them. Like, I love Bristol. Bristol's got a really kind of creative vibe. It's like a hippie-ish vibe to it, and I love that about Bristol. Liverpool's had issues over the years. And, you know, everyone gets annoyed sometimes with the place where they're from for certain, you know, but I love the people in Liverpool. I think we're strong, we're creative, we're really funny. There's loads of amazingly talented people, loads of artists, loads of poets, loads of writers. And it's a small city. So, like, you can walk around Liverpool and bump into 25 people. You know, I can't get, like, you know, 1,200 yards down the road without stopping, chatting to someone or saying hi to someone, because it's such a small place. So, yeah, I love our city.
Would you ever be interested in returning to Jamaica?
Yes. I really love Jamaica, and I really want to go back as soon as possible. I just haven't risked it yet. My plan always was that one day I'll write a book, and then I'll be able to make a film or a TV series or a documentary or something like that, and I'll get people like the BBC or something like that involved, and then I can write to the government, to the authorities in Jamaica, and say, this is what happened. I had to leave the country illegally, you see. So this is what happened. This was a long time ago. Now I'm a different person. I do this kind of work. I want to come and do some of this work in Jamaica. I want to film in Jamaica. I want to talk about my experiences, and I want to help the country where my father and our people, you know, come from. I want to be part of it. I want to be part of the community. And so I feel that now I'm getting there, aren't I? I'm this close to being at that point where they can write such a letter and see what happens. Just give me a pardon. I just want to know that nothing will happen to me if I come. That I won't get arrested, you know.
So, do you know, like, when you were in Jamaica, were you, like, bullied, like, made fun of for being, like, a sorter?
Not for being a Scouser, no. They love Scousers in Jamaica. Yeah. And the first thing they say is, where you from, England? And I was like, all Scouts. No, I'm not from England, I'm from Liverpool. Yeah. And they go, John Barnes, the Beatles. Everyone says, John Barnes, the Beatles. Oh, yeah, John Barnes, the Beatles. That's all that happens in Liverpool. Like, but you know, no, they really respect Scousers because they love the footy. I'm not a footy fan, but they love the footy. They know we've got great music in Liverpool, and they know that Liverpool people, you know, Jamaican people are tough people as well. Jamaican people are tough. They've got a tough history, and they're tough people because of the history. But they know that Scousers are tough too, and they know that, you know, Scousers aren't scared of no one, and they respect that.
Do you know what happens like nowadays, like on YouTube? Like,
do you know what happens nowadays?
Like on YouTube and like Skibbity Toilet and that.
No. that Skibbity whatever and whatever Skibbity Toilet is something that is I've heard. It's something that has come into my my range of I've noticed it's come into my awareness numerous times over the past number of weeks. I have no idea what it is, what it means, or where it comes from. I imagine it's something to do with TikTok.
Do you want me to tell what it means?
Yes, please. Yeah, go on.
Skibidi toilet, it's like a toilet, but it's a head in it.
Right. Let me show you the picture.
Yes, please.
And
There he is.
yeah.
I've seen that. Probably one of my kids has shoved that in front of my face at some point and gone, no. Show that to your mates. And what?
Right guys, what do we say to Ashleigh then for coming in
Thank
speaking to us?
Thank you.
Thank you. You were all amazing. Well done.
Thanks for watching KidsKast.
The history books on the shelf.